Hello, everyone. This is Talks with JJ, and today I'm talking about my testimony and how God saved my life. I usually come here and talk about the Bible and share the gospel, but today I decided to make it personal. I've been kind of hesitant to tell my story and just put it out there in the internet because I've always just had doubts. I always just have kind of thoughts of what if people misinterpret everything I'm saying and just kind of missed the whole point of my testimony. Just FYI, this video is from my perspective. Um I don't mean to put anybody down. I will not be mentioning names as well. This is just strictly how it happened from my eyes, from my point of view, and I really just want to share you guys how God saved me. I actually have a notes here. It's not the full testimony. It's not detailed, but um, let's get started. I turned 18. Okay, so turning 18 was definitely the fuel that I needed to just start the fire. Um, and what I mean by that is I grew up and my parents, well, my mom was a single mom, but when she met my dad, I was 14 and I was a sheltered kid, I would say. I wasn't really allowed to go out like that, like people go to high school parties. I wasn't really allowed to do that. I had one sleepover, only allowed to have that one sleepover. I did have a boyfriend, which I was so surprised when my mom let me, but my dad was kind of like, you know, she's gonna date anyways. Move forward when I was 18. Um I definitely had this sense of freedom. I'm 18, I'm an adult, I can do what I want now, and I'm gonna do whatever I want. So by this time, I wasn't dating my high school boyfriend anymore. I was single, and yeah, I started partying a lot. My first party that I went to, I met this guy, and I moved in with him in like a span of like a month. Uh, yeah. I don't recommend that. That was not fun. To be honest, it was my fault, my idea as well. I kind of just wanted to move out of my parents and moved in with someone that was okay of the lifestyle that I'm trying to pursue, which is party. I like to party and to drink and to get drunk and smoke. But at the time, it was just drinking and smoking. COVID hit, and while everybody's staying at home, staying safe, I was out partying because no school means a bunch of parties. And I lived in such a small town, there was really nothing to do. And I'm not making excuses for partying, but as somebody who just have their freedom, I wanted to experience life. And I thought by partying, I am in fact experiencing life. Moving forward, I was partying. Um, I had a group of friends, and there was this instance where one of my friends from high school, he actually didn't go to the same school, but he did. Uh, he got in the military, and so to kind of send him off, we were partying with just like a couple of friends. We were partying, and I was just so drunk. I was like blacked out drunk. Um, The next day, I woke up in his bed, and I'm gonna spare you with the details that I felt, but I will tell you that I woke up in a different shirt and shorts. So I did wake him up, and I was like, hey, did something happen with us? And he kind of just brushed it off and was like, I mean, if something did happen, you know, I guess it happened. And I'm like, oh, okay. Um, yeah, I didn't really know what to think at the time. I actually stayed friends with him because I thought of like I was drunk and, you know, before that night happened, I mean, we did flirt and stuff like that. So I don't know at the time that that was like actually sexual assault or rape or something like that. I just wasn't like fully aware of it. Um, till I kind of start talking to other people about it. But I no longer having contact with this guy, by the way. Sorry to laugh. I don't really know how to cope with things like that. Moving forward, I definitely got worse. Um, so I remember going to Panama City Beach with a couple of my friends with no money and definitely hustled our way out there. A lot of parties, a lot of drinking, a lot of this is actually this trip was the first time I started doing more than smoking weed. Um, yeah. So there was this one time while we were there and we got into a car accident. We were all doing Xanax and the owner of the car, I guess he thought that he could drive us back to the place that we were staying at. Um, and so we were all asleep except him. And then I woke up in a car accident. Um, but then I just remember like waking up and I'm already like bawling my eyes out. I was more worried for my friends than anything. Because one of my friends was unresponsive. We were rushed in the hospital. I was in and out because I just had taken a Xanax like maybe 2 hours prior and it was still kicking. Um, I remember being questioned by a cop, like, "Are you guys under the influence?" And I was just kind of zoning in and out. I'm like, "No, no, no, but I can't really remember the full conversation. I just know I just kept saying no, and I did only leave with a sprained ankle. And at the time, I was like, oh, whatever, it's just a sprained ankle. And I didn't really think any of it. None of us really had hard um, injuries. Like, none of us did. And I feel like now looking back at it, God was definitely with me, even though I was, not living my life for Him. He was still watching out for me. Um, I remember going back into our little hometown and my mom picking me up and she had her arms wide open and smiling at me even though I just, was doing all that stuff. But she was so just welcoming. A week later though, I was back on it. The partying, the drugs. It got so bad that I moved out officially out of my parents' house and moved into an apartment. It was called a trap house. But it was just a bunch of broke teenagers trying to live together so we can continue partying. I don't know what everybody else's reasons of moving in together, but that was kind of my reason. I just wanted a reason to be free without feeling the guilt of coming home into a Christian household and having to just pretend that I'm not like to pretend I'm not high or whatever. That lasted about a month because I got into a fight with all my roommates. At this time, I was dabbling a lot with psychedelics and a bunch of other drugs. I remember doing opioids and I was just knocked out. After I was like throwing up. Well, so I did it. I did the drug and I was like, this is not doing anything for me. I need more. So they gave me more, and then somebody else gave me some, not knowing that I was actually um already taking some. And I started throwing up, and I was like hugging the toilet. At this time, everybody was already asleep. And then I laid on the bathroom floor and I was just thinking to myself, this is how I'm gonna die. I am dying in a bathroom floor. And miraculously, I obviously didn't die. Here I am. Hi. Got up. Was just like, went to bed. And one more time, looking back, I definitely know that God was there with me. It was like, nope, nope, it's not your time yet. Yeah. I got into a point where I did have to move out of that apartment because I got into a fight with my roommates, like I said. And think I was going into some type of psychosis. I just did a bunch of messed up stuff, you know. I was talking to a boy and didn't think that I was worthy enough. So, like, I did, like, sleep with my ex-boyfriend. Like, I just had multiple sexual partners, one night stands. I did all that, and it's just such an empty life to be in. Anyways, through my psychosis period, I decided to move back with my parents because I was just so lost. Like, at this point, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't have my own personality. I feel like I taken on a persona that was just not me. So I moved in with my parents, and then while I was there, like a couple months in, I decided to get sober and get a job as a cashier. But I was still going through a psychosis period. I was only getting maximum of 2 hours to sleep, and every time I sleep, I'm always dreaming of like demonic things, to a point where like my body's being taken out, or my soul or my spirit's being taken out of my body and being dragged by like demons and stuff like that. I couldn't even look at a mirror for too long because I feel like I'm not the one in control of my body. It's like I was sitting in the back seat of my own body and something else is, in the it's like something else is the one driving my body. It didn't feel like me. Every time I go places, I'm like hearing voices. It feels like something's always following me. And um, I finally talked to my dad about it, and he's a preacher, and he's been a Christian for like ever. So he started casting out like demons out of me, and at the time I just feel weird because I'm like, oh, what's happening? Like, is this even real? I remember sleeping at their bed that night because I was just so scared. I didn't even know. I didn't even really have the thought that maybe there are some demonic entities following me. I have dabbled in witchcraft and opening my chakras and stuff like that. And I just didn't think that, it's demonic. Of course, now it's clear it is demonic. I then I remember going to church with them, but I would just sit there. Like, I'm not gonna engage. I wasn't engaging. But after my dad cast out demons, the next day we sat in the front of the church, and all of a sudden worship was going, and I was just so like heartbroken, and I was worshiping. I was down pretty much on my knees, and I just feel like there's literally things being dragged out of me while I was worshiping. It definitely felt like chains were being broken. And after the worship, I took this deep breath, and it was like a breath of fresh air. It definitely felt renewing. It felt spiritual. It felt like, oh my goodness, it felt like I just got myself back. Yeah, it was really wild. But yeah, after that, everything is pretty much just history. But I wanted to tell you guys about this because I feel like some people are out there maybe in the same situation and just think I'm too far. I'm having sex, I'm doing drugs, I'm drinking, and this and that. God will never meet me and forgive me. That is just such a lie. I have been called delusional, crazy, all this stuff, but at the same time, what really matters is your relationship with God. He wants you to come as you are. You don't need to fix yourself. That's the beauty of being saved by God is you don't he's going to meet you wherever you are. If you tell him you need him, he's going to meet you where you're at, and he wants to work with you and transform you from inside out. And he's just so good. He transformed my life. I am now a wife and a mom. I pay my bills. um and even though I go through seasons of challenges and struggles, God is just always there for me. He just have never really left my side after I have told him that I need him. I need a savior. Now, even though I go through hills and valleys of challenges, the Lord's still with me, and he continues to show it to me that he's with me. He continues to pull through. I have now found peace and joy through any chaos that's going on with my life. And I just wanted to let you guys know that God do transform. God works in your life and just changes you. Not It's a change where you actually find yourself and you're not lost and you feel fulfilled. Nothing in this world could ever satisfy your soul but Jesus. And yeah, sorry if I'm rambling. I have told my testimony a couple times, but it's just like I don't really know what to even say, like how to start it, how to end it. So I guess I'm gonna end it with this, that God loves you, He cares for you, and I hope you have a great day. And I love you. Bye.